was apprised of difficulties faced by Indian travelers transiting the region and by students appearing for scheduled examinations in these countries. It directed all concerned ministries and departments to take appropriate measures to respond to these problems. Honorable Prime Minister continues to closely monitor emerging developments and relevant ministries are coordinating to ensure effective responses. Sir, the conflict has continued to intensify and the security situation in the region has deteriorated significantly. We have noted that, in fact, the conflict has spread to other nations with mounting destruction and deaths. Normal life and economic activities in the entire region are visibly affected and in some cases have come to a halt. We therefore reiterated our call on 3 March for dialogue and diplomacy and spoke up for an early end to the conflict. I am confident, Chairman Sir, that the House joins me in expressing our sorrow at the loss of lives. Honorable Chairman Sir, while any development that negatively impacts peace and security in the world is deeply troubling, this ongoing conflict is an issue of particular concern for India. We are a neighboring region and understandably have obvious stakes that West Asia remains stable and peaceful. There are almost 1 crore Indian citizens who live and work in the Gulf nations. In Iran too, there are a few thousand Indians who are there for study or for employment. The region is key to our energy security and includes many important suppliers of oil and gas. Chairman Sir, the Gulf is also a major trade partner, accounting for almost $200 billion annually. The House is also aware that in the last decade, there has been significant investment from the region into the Indian economy. Therefore, serious supply chain disruptions and climate of instability that we perceive are serious issues. Furthermore, these include attacks on merchant shipping, where Indian nationals often constitute a large proportion of the crews. We have sadly already lost 2 Indian mariners and 1 remains missing in such incidents. I know that the House joins me in condoning their deaths. Honorable Chairman Sir, Government has been assessing the situation in West Asia continuously since the 12-day war in June 2025. We noted the indications of growing tension and cautioned the Indian community in Iran accordingly. On 5 January 2026, Indian nationals were advised by the Ministry of External Affairs to avoid non-essential travel to Iran. Those already resident there were urged to register with the embassy, exercise due caution, and monitor the embassy website and social media handles. A second advisory was issued on 14 January, reiterating this advice to avoid travel in even stronger terms. The Directorate General of Shipping, Mumbai, in parallel, issued its own advisory on 14 January for Indian seafarers, asking them to follow embassy advisories and avoid unnecessary movement ashore. Recruitment and shipping companies were asked not to deploy or send Indian seafarers to Iran. Sir, reflecting our assessment of the evolving situation, the Indian Embassy in Tehran issued another advisory on 14 February, urging Indian nationals, including students, pilgrims, business persons and tourists, to leave Iran by all available means of transport, including commercial flights. They were asked to contact the embassy for any assistance and provided with 24/7 helplines. This was again reiterated in strong terms through another advisory on 23 February. Some heeded these advisories and have left the country. However, many others have disregarded them and remain in Iran. We are also in touch with our fishermen who operate out of Iran. This was the situation till 28 February 2020. Once the conflict commenced, the Indian Embassy has facilitated the relocation of Indian students, several Indian students in Tehran to places outside Tehran. An advisory update with emergency contact helplines was issued on 3 March. Similarly, facilitation was extended to pilgrims for their internal movement. Indian nationals who were in Iran for business reasons were assisted to cross over to Armenia and return home. The embassy in Tehran remains fully operational, in fact, on the highest alert. They are totally committed to supporting the Indian community in this difficult moment and in assisting Indian nationals who may wish to cross international borders. Where seafarers are concerned, the Directorate General of Shipping, through an order of 2nd March, has constituted a quick response team for immediate response, coordination and support functions. This too will function on a 24/7 basis. Honorable Chairman, sir, I would like to inform the House through you that every Indian embassy in the region has similarly issued advisories. The embassy in Israel did so on 28th February and 1 March, UAE on 28th February and 5 March, Bahrain on 28th February, Qatar on 28th February, Kuwait on 28th February and 5th March, and Saudi Arabia on 28th February and 8th March, Oman on 28th February, Iraq on 28th February and 5th March. MEA has set up a dedicated special control room to monitor the situation and respond to queries from those.
I will come back to let him complete his statement. Let him complete his statement. You are not allowing him to make the statement. That is not correct. Gargaji, that is not correct. I allowed you to speak. Let him complete the statement. I will come back to you. Let him complete the statement. Please.
The MEA's latest update on this was issued on 7th of March. Honorable Chairman, sir, our diplomats have also worked hard to assist stranded transit passengers in hubs like Dubai, Doha and Abu Dhabi. They have facilitated international border crossings for Indian nationals, including from UAE to Oman and from Qatar, Kuwait and Bahrain to Saudi Arabia. Wherever there has been a partial opening of airspace, we have approved and undertaken commercial flights, including non-scheduled flights, to enable the return of Indian passengers. Our estimate is that as of yesterday, almost 67,000 of our nationals have done so. Sir, I also saw, today I was informed of a information put out by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and this tells us of the efforts government is making. Yesterday there were 15 inbound flights operated by Indian carriers which arrived in India. On the 7th. On the 8th there were 49 flights, and on the 9th there are 50 flights. So I want to assure the House that every effort is being made that those who are stuck in the region, those who are transit passengers who are there, those who need to come back urgently from this region, we are making every effort for them to do so. Chairman, sir, throughout this period, government maintained close contact with relevant countries. Honorable Prime Minister himself has spoken to the President of UAE, the Amir of Qatar, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince of Kuwait, the King of Bahrain, the Sultan of Oman, the King of Jordan, and the Prime Minister of Israel. In each case, we received assurances that the well-being of the Indian community would be a priority for the host government. I have similarly been in close touch with my counterparts in these countries. Insofar as the United States is concerned, we have maintained regular contacts through diplomatic channels. While attempts have been made, contacts with Iran at the leadership level are obviously difficult at this time. I have, however, spoken to Foreign Minister Arakchi on 28th February and 5 March 2026. We will continue these high-level conversations in the coming days. So, the House will also be interested in the issue of an Iranian vessel that is currently docked in Kochi. The Iranian side had requested permission on 28 February for 3 ships in the region to dock at our ports. This was accorded on 1 March. IRIS Lavan actually docked on 4th March in Kochi. The crew is currently in Indian naval facilities. We believe that this was the right thing to do, and the Iranian foreign minister has expressed his country's thanks for this humane gesture. Honorable Chairman, sir, in view of the implications of this conflict for our energy security, I also seek to address that particular concern. Government remains committed to ensuring that fully, taking into account availability, costs, and risks of the energy markets. For us, the interests of the Indian consumer has and will always be the overriding priority. Where required, Indian diplomacy has supported the endeavors of our energy enterprises in this volatile situation. Honorable Chairman, sir, let me conclude by highlighting the 3 guiding factors of our approach. 1. India is in favor of peace and urges a return to dialogue and diplomacy. We advocate de-escalation, restraint, and ensuring the safety of civilians. 2. The well-being and security of the Indian community in the region is our priority. We will continue to work with the governments of the region towards that end. And 3, our national interest, including energy security and trade flows, will always be paramount. I'm confident, sir, that the government has the full support of this august House on this matter. I thank you.
Now, Honorable Leader of the House.
आदरणीय सभापति जी, बहुत तफसील में विदेश मंत्री जी ने वर्तमान परिस्थिति मिडिल ईस्ट में उसके बारे में इन्होंने जो वक्तव्य दिया है और किस तरीके से इस क्राइसिस में अपने आप को आगे इन सारी चीज़ों को एड्रेस किया है, इसको बहुत तफसील से, बहुत डिटेल में माननीय मंत्री जी ने रखा है। जो ऑपोजिशन की तरफ से एनर्जी के बारे में भी प्रश्न था, उसका भी उन्होंने उस पर प्रकाश डाला है और बताया है कि सरकार किस तरीके से सारी चीज़ों पर सजग भी है, एक्टिव भी है, एड्रेस भी कर रही है और उन सभी समस्याओं के साथ आगे बढ़ करके भारत की जनता को और भारत की आवश्यकता को ध्यान में रख करके हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। बहुत दुख के साथ मुझे कहना पड़ रहा है कि विपक्ष का जो व्यवहार है वो बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना है, बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना और यह निंदनीय भी है। इसको जितनी निंदा की जाए वो कम है। इनका इंटरेस्ट न देश में है, न इनका इंटरेस्ट डिबेट में है, इनका इंटरेस्ट एनार्की पैदा करने में है। आज लीडर ऑफ द ऑपोजिशन को आपने 176 के तहत बोलने का मौका दिया। उन्होंने सब्जेक्ट छोड़ करके मैटर पर शुरू कर दिया चर्चा करना। उनको ये मालूम है और था कि विदेश मंत्री जी ने विस्तृत रूप से इन सारी चीजों की चर्चा करनी है, लेकिन उन्होंने अपने तरफ से सारी चीजों को डिटेल में रखना शुरू किया और आपने रूलिंग दी कि आई विल कम बैक टू यू ऑन दिस मैटर एंड आई विल गिव अ थॉट और इस पर डिस्कशन के लिए करेंगे। इनका इंटरेस्ट कभी भी चर्चा में नहीं रहा है। इनका इंटरेस्ट अच्छा नहीं लगेगा लेकिन हुड़दंग मचाने में है, हुलिगनिज्म है। और मैं उदाहरण के साथ आपको बताना चाहता हूं इस हाउस में इनका रोल क्या है। इन्होंने बहुत हल्ला किया SIR के बारे में, आपने इलेक्टोरल रिफॉर्म्स के बारे में चर्चा का मौका दिया। 9 और 10 दिसंबर 2025 को चर्चा हुई, लगभग 18 घंटे चर्चा चली और दुख की बात यह है कि इलेक्टोरल रिफॉर्म्स के बाद इस सारी चर्चा में यह वॉकआउट कर गए जब हमारे तरफ से जवाब देने की बारी है। उसी तरीके से जब स्पेशल डिस्कशन रिगार्डिंग द इंडियाज एस्ट्रोनॉट अब्रॉड इन इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन and critical role of the space program विकसित भारत 2047 पर चर्चा हो रही थी 18 अगस्त 2025 को, तो ऑपोजिशन ने इस चर्चा में भाग लेने से अपने आप को अलग रखा।
All right, you were watching live from Rajya Sabha, where External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar was making a statement on West Asia. He said Prime Minister was continuously assessing the situation. He said developments in West Asia were of huge concern. He also cautioned that all unnecessary travel to the region should be avoided, and advisories on that have been issued earlier also. He also mentioned about the disruption in the supply chain. He said 50 flights have been scheduled to bring back Indians, and he also said that a control room has been set up to monitor the situation. He said there were three things which India is very paramount about. India is in favor of peace and advocates de-escalation. Second, the well-being of Indians was our priority, and the national interest in energy and trade will always be paramount, he said. And we also heard J.P. Nadda, the leader of the House, speaking in the House, and he said the way the opposition was behaving was sad and not the right way of conduct. And for more on this, we have Vishal Baristo joining us. Well, Vishal, we heard the External Affairs Minister speaking about the situation in West Asia. And this is the second phase of the budget session today, the first day of the budget session. In the second phase, what all is planned for the day?
Well, very good morning to you, Lipakshi. You heard the External Affairs Minister making a statement in the upper house of the Parliament. He is also expected to make a statement on the West Asia issue in the lower house as well. You heard the External Affairs Minister. He said that the Prime Minister himself is closely monitoring the situation, and the whole thing is being monitored through 3 pointers. First is that India wants peace in the region through diplomacy, then the security of the Indians there in the West Asia. He also mentioned how Prime Minister Narendra Modi has himself spoken to the leaders in different countries, including Israel, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and he said that it is difficult to speak to the leadership of Iran, but I'm still in touch with my counterpart. And then in the last, he also said that the energy security is also a major concern, and India is keeping a close tab on the whole situation. So India is trying its level best. The first aim is to keep to maintain the safety and security of the Indians abroad, and how the evacuation of these Indians are being planned, and how different governments have assured that the safety about the safety of the Indians. He also said that India has reciprocated very well to the demand of the Iranian government, and 3 vessels of Iran are docking in the Indian waters, one with the naval facility. So India is trying its level best. But you also heard the leader of the House, J.P. Nadda. He accused the opposition of hooliganism, and he said that this is very, very unfortunate, because the opposition is not interested in neither in the national interest nor in the safety of Indians abroad. They are only interested in creating a ruckus in the House, which is not acceptable. Yes, the External Affairs Minister is also expected to make a statement in the lower house of the Parliament, which stands adjourned because of the ruckus created by the opposition till 12 noon.
All right. Also, Vishal, we heard that both BJP and Congress have issued 3-line whips to ensure the presence of the MPs. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, certainly, this is quite a significant day, because in the last 4 decades of the parliamentary history, it has never happened. But today, a motion has been moved against the Speaker of the lower house, and the opposition has accused him of his partisan role, not allowing the opposition leader, which is Rahul Gandhi, to speak. And he is supported by, Congress is supported by the TMC, the Samajwadi Party, and the DMK. They have 118 MPs who have signed this motion. But they do not have the numbers in their hand, and that is why the Treasury is quite optimistic and rather confident, because they have the numbers with them. 335 members are with them, and the magic figure is 272, which the opposition needs and they do not have. But still, both the opposition and the Treasury have issued a 3-line whip asking all their member of parliaments to be present during the discussion on the motion, and after the motion is moved there would be 3 hours of discussion. But unfortunately the lower house stands adjourned, so it would be interesting to see how the opposition behaves while the motion has been moved during the discussion, and we are expecting quite a stormy session as far as this day is concerned.
All right. Also, Vishal, Upper House is also expected to discuss the working of the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. What information do you have on that?
Well, yes, this is another important issue working of the Environment Ministry, which is very much focused on the climate change, how climate change is affecting different countries and economies across the world. But the major issue has always been West Asia and how it has disrupted supply chains and the energy security of the world, on which the Foreign Affairs Minister has already made a statement. But it is to be seen how the opposition behaves, because if they allow the House to function, then only these things would come up for discussion. But all eyes are focused on the lower house once it reassembles at 12 noon, and the motion is moved by the opposition on the removal of Speaker Om Birla, who would not be presiding over the proceedings of the House since the motion is against him. So it would be an interesting day, but certainly quite a significant day. Opposition is simply trying to make its presence felt, knowing very well that they do not have the numbers with them, but still trying to draw the attention of the House about their grievances, and their accusation has always been repeatedly that the Speaker is not allowing the opposition to raise its voice in the House.
All right. Vishal, also the second phase is supposed to continue till the 2nd of April. What all else is planned to be presented in this phase in both the houses?
Well, the debate on the budget is still to continue, because the finance bill, the demands and grants of the finance bill need to be finished. The discussion has to be finished on it. Then only the budget session would be complete. But the way things are proceeding, because there are a lot of issues, the opposition on its behalf is all pumped up because they see an opportunity to corner the Treasury and the prices of the LPG, which were raised on the 7th of March because of the growing crisis in the West Asia. The 60 rupees was raised on the LPG cylinders. So these are the issues that the opposition would like to bulldoze in the House, both the houses of the Parliament. And the Treasury, because they have the numbers with them, they are pretty much well seated in both the houses.
All right. Thank you so much, Vishal, for all those details. And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.